stress will take a toll on you, big time. I've had my share of stress, but I've always tried to really do well in managing it. And there's one thing that has heads and shoulders been above anything else I have ever seen work for anyone else, as well as anything that works for me, and that is meditation. And I'm not talking about the transcendental type meditation or the things that are a little bit iffy as far as what you're opening your mind to. I'm talking about the science-based type of meditation that balances your left and right hemispheres without all of the religious overtones or spiritistic overtones. This is clearly just science, and that's what I was looking for so many years ago when I was struggling with such high anxiety and stress that I could barely function. I was going to work. I worked like a 9 to 3 job, 8 to 3, something like that at a school, and I would come home. That was all I could take. It was all the people I could take in my space. That was all of the attention I could take on doing what I needed to do. When I came home, I was exhausted. I was physically sick. I was just out for the count. I was very near agoraphobic, or maybe I was. I just could not function around more than a few people. At work, I had to find ways, and even then, it was my socialization skills at work were just almost zero because all I could do was just get through the day. And I found a program after research. I don't know how I found it. It was so long ago, but I found a program 15 or so years ago that changed my whole life, changed the whole trajectory of what I was able to do, because my stress, which caused depression and anxiety, was limiting me from the things I really wanted. So I really wanted to do these things, and I really wanted them bad. Like, I have high goals, I want to be high functioning, but these things were holding me down. It's almost like being a runner and having a broken leg for years and years and years that's never really going to heal, and you can't run. It's I want to do this, but you can't. I was in a very stressful life situation at the time, in marriage, and that had a lot to do with it. I had some physical challenges that I wasn't aware of that I cleared up years later. So the program I just really want to talk about is by a now deceased man who was brilliant. His name was Bill Harris. I had the opportunity to talk with Bill a couple summers ago. So it was about a year before he died. I was asking to collaborate with him on a project that I was working on. And even though he didn't think the project was a good fit for him and his business, he did give me a lot of his time, like 45 minutes, and this guy is super busy. I just caught him at the right time. He liked my initial pitch that I gave to his assistant, and he called me back, and I was shocked because in my mind, I put him on a pedestal for so many years because I was using his program. So I did kind of meet him on the phone once, and I'm so thankful that I reached out because now he is no more. So the program you can find, it's called Holosync, and it is just, you might have heard of binaural beats, and I know there's been a lot of knockoffs, and I have never researched them in depth. I don't know if they work the same. I doubt it. I can only speak to the Holosync program, who seems to be like the pioneer of this whole technology. So you can find the information via my website. There's a link there. And my disclosure is I will get a very small kickback for anyone that buys the first level of the program. However, with that said, you're going to find only 2 links on my website. One for eating psychology for their program, which I've been through, and the Holosync program, because I believe wholeheartedly in those programs. I am a living, breathing example of what the Holosync technology can do. And that's why I chose to be an affiliate. You can get more information from their website via mine, but let me just tell you a little bit how it works in my own words and my own opinion. Before I found Holosync, I knew that I needed to try to relax more. And so I came across some information about how to just do relaxed breathing, eyes closed, basically just like a meditative moment a few times a day. And I did that. I would be like between jobs or whatever in the car, and I knew it was, oh, it's time to do it, and I would do it. So I did it, I believe, 3 times a day, morning, sometime in the mid-afternoon, and then at night. So at the time, I had very bad skin. It was awful. I have a little bit of scarring, and I also had a lot of digestive issues. And when I was doing this meditation, this relaxation technique, I would say my symptoms went down about maybe 30%. And to me, that was substantial. So I started doing more research. I believe this is how I kind of came across the Holistic program. And I ordered it. And I couldn't believe what it did to me. And also, as well as my husband used it a little bit too, and he continued to use it for a few years. But for me, really what it came down to is my left and right hemispheres were so off balance. I was so, and still am really, so heavy left-brained and so freaked out in my right brain that it was just so imbalanced, and it was disconnecting me from people, from life. I was getting PTSD reactions. It was just, and then my body started, breaking down from all the stress, and the brain-gut connection's huge. I'll talk about that more later too. And I had some upheaval in the first year or two, for sure, as my belief systems were being challenged, which is a good thing. Basically, what it was doing was making more pathways to the left and the right hemisphere. This is how I understand it. I haven't researched deeply how it works in a long time, because I just know it works at this point. But it makes more connections to the left and right, which I need, because I need to be more balanced with the left and right. And when it does that, here's the magic. When it does that, it makes a new connection. It throws off an old connection, one that doesn't serve you anymore. And that's huge. So the anxious thoughts that I was getting because I was scared of things in the moment that weren't scary or threatening, but things in my mind that I were hardwired in to say that they were scary or life-threatening, those started to go away. One of the first things I noticed was I was able to make eye contact with people. That may sound very simple to you. That was not easy for me for years. I was scared of people, and it became to where I couldn't even look. It was an awful feeling. I sometimes get emotional talking about this too, because I remember what it was like, and I remember how far that I've come too with that. I can't express to you enough how afraid I was of everything. I couldn't hold a conversation with people that without them knowing that something was off, and I felt it and I knew it. And then you start to self-criticize, and you get down on yourself. I'm no good, what's wrong with me, all these things. So over the years, I slowly built up my confidence and made my whole secular career way better, because I have the type of position where I need to be in front of people all the time, whether it's just one person or a whole classroom or auditorium full of people. Also, sometimes I have my peer, a team, a peer with me, and if those relationships aren't good, I feel more stress from that. I wasn't able to perform. My brain would just kind of shut down. It can't do that in the middle of what I'm doing. So there was a lot of things that were happening. And now, when I'm more balanced and I'm on the program, I do not have those issues. I can think quickly. I can think clearly. I'm not overly nervous and anxious about who's watching me, that kind of thing. So all I have to do, and this was key for me, was put in headphones. The left side has to be on the left always. The right side has to be on the right always, because they talk to the left and right sides a little different. And all you have to do is sit quietly. You can fall asleep if you need to, but it's better if you don't. And that in itself is hard. If you're someone like me and you're type A and your brain is like a monkey brain all the time, that's your left side, by the way, you're gonna have a hard time doing this. And I did. And that was the first challenge for me, was to be able to have to sit for an hour. I was twitching, I was moving around, I was trying to open my eyes. I learned how to do it, and I still have some of those times where it's very difficult for me to sit for that hour. But each level that you finish A level takes anywhere from 6 months to a year or more, depending on how often you do it. And that's the beauty of it too. I'll get to that in a second. But each level brings you higher, what you might say higher. And the first levels for me changed my whole view of the world and people, because I was able to do what other people can do naturally that I wasn't able to do. I wasn't able to socialize. I become so introverted that I couldn't handle it, and that changed. And I noticed that within probably a couple months that people were waving to me at work, kids and coworkers were waving to me from across the way, and I'm looking around going, who are you waving at? And I realized it was me. The energy, the frequency that I was giving off was different. And I didn't even realize all those things were happening. I'm like, whoa, they just talked to me. And I waved back, and I was okay with that. Like simple things you just don't realize if you don't have these issues. But so the way that people were interacting with me was different, because the way I was presenting myself to the world was different. And that's key. So if you get treated a certain way by the world or by most people, it's not them, it's you. It has to be. You are the common denominator. So I look at that. I look at how I'm being treated, what people are saying about me. It's not always true in the moment, but if you start to see a pattern, you got to look at yourself and you got to say, okay, if this is me, how can I change it? So I identified with that, and I was like, well, people, I'm not approachable, not because that's their fault or their problem, it's mine. And it's taken me a very long time to even be able to say that, but it's taken me a really long time to figure that out and to work on it to the extent that I have, and I've still got a lot of work to go. But for me, it's a very intricate puzzle that I have to work through. But so my message today, I guess, is to, if you feel that it could benefit you, is to look at the Holisync program. It's totally safe. It's not expensive. You can get a level for about $200. And that level will last you, like I said, if you do it all the time, it might only last you 6 months. Even then, that's a steal for what you're getting. You will never lose your benefits, by the way. The more you do it, the more deeper the healing, the brain healing, if I can say that, is. But what I notice, if I don't meditate, especially with Holisync, for a while, and I'm in a situation where I'm not able to control the stress that's coming in by my lifestyle or whatever, and that's been recently. I've had a lot of stress coming in that I haven't been able to, quote, control, which I find that's my coping, is I control the stress around my environment so that I can handle it. This raises your threshold for stress. That's why it works. So you can handle more stress. Your brain doesn't even interpret it as stress. It's like, oh, you just get over it, or you just say this word, the right word at the right time, and you're fine, and all these things that you wouldn't figure out otherwise. So I would highly recommend you take a look at it. It's affordable. It's something that is long lasting. It's something that you can do in your own time, as much as you want, as little as you want. It's a very good idea for, dare I say, everyone. I don't know who this wouldn't be good for. I just don't. The people friends, and at least one family member that has done this, I've gotten good feedback from it. One family member, she got scared because at first it feels like your awareness changes. Another thing about Holisync that I want to stress is that what it does is it makes you more aware of the subconscious. And I've heard different numbers, anywhere from 90 to like 98% of your thoughts, your beliefs, are subconscious. Think about that. So if you're trying to control what you're conscious of, that's great. But it's not going to be life-changing, more than likely, because you're only addressing 5% of what you know you're thinking. The rest is like automatic. It's hardwired. I like to say it's hardwired in your brain. you can change that by meditation. That's what monks did. But it took monks 10, 20 years to get down in the same levels, the same brain frequencies that you do in Holosync the first time. I was like, where do I sign up? So from the very first meditation, you are getting down into there's 5 brain frequency levels, and I'll try, but I'm gonna get them wrong. Alpha, beta, theta, gamma is in there. But gamma's a new one. Alpha, beta, theta. There's one more. I don't know if that's the gamma. I think there's another one, but I think theta is the very deep one. That's hard to get in on your own. But through tones, left and right side tones talking to each other, it's doable. So she got a little bit scared because it will bring your awareness up of problems, of things that you have, because you are not capable of continuing a practice or a belief if you know it hurts you, if it's not good for you. It's impossible. So whatever you're doing that's causing consequences that you don't like, but you can't seem to change it, that's because somewhere in your thinking, in your belief system, subconsciously, you believe that that's best for you. And usually what I found is it's an area of safety. You're doing that out of a coping mechanism that you formed a long time ago, usually growing up for age, 15 or so, that it's just playing the same loop. And it's just looping over and over and over again, and you don't realize it because it's subconscious. And you're just like, why can't I not eat this ice cream? Why can't I just go to the gym when I want to? Why can't I just be nice to this person? Whatever it is, there's something playing that can be changed, that can just fall away. But until you get to that point, it's not going to. So no matter what you do, you're going to be spinning your wheels. So what Holosync does, it brings up to your awareness. Even one thing I noticed, this is crazy. I notice that I can hear better when I'm doing the program. I can not see better, but I'm more aware of the intricate details of things because my brain is just working better. You know that you filter out 99% of the input of what you hear, see, and feel and experience in all different ways, because you don't need all that information. It'd be overwhelming. And so that's why if you're all of a sudden wanting to buy a red car, you see all these red cars because your brain's like on notice that, oh, she wants a red car, here's the goal, so now we have, oh, where are the red cars? I want to check that out. That's why. So the minute you become more aware of something, you all of a sudden notice it, and that's your brain just seeking a goal. It's a goal-seeking mechanism. So your subconscious goals, you can't do anything about unless they're conscious. And so this program brings up those things, and the personal progress is huge when you can get into those areas. And I don't know any other way to do it unless it's through meditation. And this program is supersonic meditation. I'm going to be talking more about coping with stress, supplements that can help with that. Any questions you have about the Holosync program, I can continue to talk about that too in more depth. I am a pretty much 15-year veteran of it. I am on purification level 3. I believe that's a little over halfway through the program. It starts with an awakening prologue, it's called, and then it has level 1, 2, 3, 4. I think it's through level 12. So it starts with an awakening prologue, and then it has 12 levels past that, so 13 altogether. And they're grouped. So after the prologue one, then you go to the first group of 3, the second group of 3, and so on and so forth. I am on the third group of 3, the last one in that series. So I'm finally over the halfway mark, and it's taken me a long time. But I was just decided I was committed to doing this whole program, however long it took me, and I'm continuing to do that. So I just bought Purification Level 3, and which puts me at level 7, I believe. And so out of 12 or 13, I'm getting there. So I just need to spend more time. But that's what I wanted to say today about stress and the program that I find most helpful. And so let me know what your thoughts or questions are below. I'd be happy to answer them. Thanks for watching. This is Terry Lynn with Livetru.